Alright, let's talk about something that makes surfers lose their minds. When a hurricane thousands of miles away somehow turns your local break into a paradise of perfect waves. Yeah, I'm talking about Hurricane Genevieve, the storm that didn't just scare the West Coast, but actually gifted surfers one of those rare, magical days that'll be replayed on highlight reels for years. But here's the twist, this wasn't just about big waves. It was about timing, luck, and a weirdly empty lineup that felt like nature's way of saying, here, have a gift, no crowds attached. Now, if you're not a surfer, you might not realize how insane this is. Southern California's reputation as a surf spot. It's a bit of a roller coaster. Some days it's dead flat, other days it's chaos. But when a Category 5 hurricane like Genevieve barrels across the Pacific, all bets are off. What's fascinating to me is how this storm wasn't even born near the US. It started off the coast of Africa. How does a storm that far away end up sculpting waves in California? It's like the weather equivalent of a cosmic Rube Goldberg machine. And honestly, that's what makes this so wild. It's a reminder of how interconnected our planet's systems are, even if we rarely notice it. So, imagine this, you wake up, check the surf report, and suddenly spots like Lowers, the iconic San Clemente break, are firing with chest-to-head-high waves, but the lineup has barely 25 people. That's what happened here. Griffin Colapinto, one of the brightest young talents in surfing, rolled up with his dad and just dominated. But let's pause for a second. Why was it so empty? Was it the early hour? The unpredictability of the swell? Or maybe the fact that most surfers still think of hurricanes as threats, not wave factories? What this suggests to me is a gap in how we perceive risk versus reward. We are so conditioned to fear storms that we forget they are also the Earth's way of redistributing energy, sometimes into something beautiful. Now, the footage from SLAWTV. Gold? Not just because of the waves, but because of who was there. Pros like Bernardo, Rickson Falcao, even Matt Biolos, the guy who shapes boards for some of the best in the world. A detail I find fascinating is how this mix of talent created this weird, collaborative vibe. No ego battles, just a shared appreciation for the moment. And that's what I love about surfing at its best. It's competitive, sure, but also deeply communal. When the conditions are perfect, it's less about who's better and more about sharing the stoke. But here's the deeper question, what does this mean for the future? Climate change is already altering storm patterns. Could we see more bombs like Genevieve that actually benefit surfers while wreaking havoc elsewhere? That's a paradox, right? We are getting these incredible days at the beach, but they are tied to systems that are destabilizing the planet. Personally, I think this raises a tough conversation about ethics in surfing. Do we celebrate the waves while ignoring the destruction elsewhere? Or do we start seeing surfers as some of the first climate change observers, since our sport depends so deeply on the whims of the atmosphere? And then there's the human angle. Griffin scoring a session with his dad. That's the kind of day that makes you remember why you fell in love with surfing in the first place. It's not about competitions or sponsorships, it's about those moments when the world feels perfectly aligned. So, yeah, Genevieve was a monster storm. But for a few hours at Lowers, it was also a gift. The kind that reminds us how small we are, how wild nature is, and how lucky we are to ride its chaos. What do you think? Should we be more grateful for these days, or more worried about what they represent? Drop a comment and let's talk about it.